just want to get to the bottom of it, because if your friends don't like me and if they don't approve of me and they're bringing it up now after 2.5 years of marriage and 2 kids, then why would they even come to our wedding? I don't want someone at the wedding who doesn't want you to be married to me.
The fact that she doesn't want my friends to come to the wedding. This is just another way of Emily trying to have a way and control everything. My country, my rules, my friends will come to the wedding.
Are you gonna invite?
You know what though? Would I be comfortable with people coming to a wedding that does not want me to marry my woman? No. Hell no. Why would I want people that disagree with the person that I'm about to marry, to come to my wedding? It's supposed to be a special day, right? It's supposed to be a happy day, right? So really and truly, all I want is just positive vibes. So therefore, I do understand Emily's point, and I feel like Kobe is misunderstanding it, unless I'm misunderstanding it. But let's continue though, because this one is a very interesting episode.
The ex-girlfriend too? Is she coming to the wedding? I heard about your days. Was that when you met me in China, that you were still dating? But when I met you, you told me you were single, and then you proposed to me right away.
It's crazy because, I don't know where this is all coming from.
It's coming from Valerie. That's where it's coming, from your friend.
It's both because...
So now he's lying?
It's not authentic. You don't understand where all this ex talk is coming from. We've only been in Cameroon for a few days, and Emily is using this as an opportunity to dig about my past.
Now, before we get into what Emily says there, it is quite interesting, isn't it, how his first initial reaction was a negative one. And when I say that, what I mean is the first initial thing that he thought was that Emily went behind his back to dig his past up. It never crossed his mind that maybe he was told this information, obviously at a term. So here's the thing. In life, generally speaking, if you are confident, comfortable with your partner, you are less likely to think something negative about your partner. Do you see what I'm saying? When they do something or when they tell you something, you are more likely to, think that what they're saying is coming from a certain place that has, a place that is not necessarily negative. So the fact that he assumed straight off the bat that what's her name again? That Emily gone out of her way to dig her past. It's like, you know what I mean? It's that's not a good thing to feel, to be honest with you, because that means that you feel like as if at any given time your partner will take a chance to put you down. Any given time your partner will take a chance to find something negative to use against you. So I do wonder if he has gotten to a point where he feels like when he says certain things, she's always going to use those things against him. And I say this because you see, for some of us men, and obviously I can assume it's also the same for some women as well. So let me just say, to some of us people, sometimes even in relationships, or even in friend groups, or even in families, we get to a point where we start to not want to speak up as much, because each time we speak up, or we're afraid that the person's going to use that against us because we're just trying to be vocal about something. Do you see what I'm saying? Because their reaction is always trying to just down. I hope that makes sense, but let's continue.
I did not ask about your ex-girlfriend. Valerie brought her up, and I did not ask about her.
That I know of cannot just get up and start talking about my...
So maybe you don't know him that well. So maybe you don't know him that well. I want to believe you, but then you're like, this is my best friend, and then you're like, he would never lie, but it's like, also, he's the one who brought it up. I feel like he can be hard.
It is crazy though, because he was put in a massive dilemma here. No. He was put in a situation where he started contradicting himself. Emily was like, you told me that this guy doesn't lie. But now you're saying, and now you're asking me whether I believe him or I believe you. So which one is it? To be fair, his friend hasn't done him any favors. That's just the grand scheme of it. If anything, in this situation, Kobe's priority shouldn't even be continuing the dispute with his wife. It should be, I need to speak to Valerie. I need to find out what the hell he's playing at. That should have been the mindset. At least that would be mine.
He would never lie, but it's like, also, he's the one who brought it up. I feel like it can be hard to be married to someone from another country sometimes. I always thought Kobe accepted me for who I am, but maybe this trip is really showing to...
Now, I just want you to sit on that about the whole thing of accepting me of who I am, because that's something that I'm going to touch on after this scene here.
Really showing to...
Why, your husband wants to invite us in the house. Don't come and get the dinner. Come and eat.
But I don't have a house.
I'm surprised that you are bringing out the night off. You guys are living in an apartment. You're in an apartment.
Oh, it's like a hotel.
Well, so from that kitchen, you could cook something for us to eat.
Here in Africa, a woman is being graded how she invites people, not in a bar. No, I will not say you're bad, but I'll tell you, like, we Africans, I for one grade it bad. In Africa, we have a style of doing a visit for the first time. From women in particular, you prepare food, you welcome us to come in, and I want Emily to understand our way as a better wife. That's all I want.
Really speaking up for herself, and which is really typical something from an American woman. But that's not what my friend sees every day. I didn't marry a Cameroonian lady. I got married to an American lady. I feel like, I'm caught in the middle between my wife.
Bossy.
I'm
Listen, you're
talking.
bossy. You're
You're
bossy.
trying to interrupt me while I'm
That's the thing I've been talking about
You're
to you.
trying to
Because you're
interrupt me while I'm
always
All right, okay, cool. Let me eat this one up. So, I feel like this season so far has shown us that Kobe has a big challenge ahead of him. And that challenge is, well, challenge number one is voicing himself to Emily. And clearly, I feel like he's obviously tried to do that. And I feel like that's something that we did see in their first season. But voicing himself is something that's always been hard because Emily will always interrupt him, never allow him to finish, and always pretty much, just say no to whatever he's saying, and that is what she wants is the priority over whatever he wants. And that's something that we've definitely seen. So therefore it means that Kobe's maybe got to a point, or probably got to a point, where he's not as vocal as he would have liked, which, straight off the bat isn't a good thing. All right. So when we're looking at that reason stuff alone, okay, this is why Kobe is now in this position where he's allowing his own friends to speak up for him. But should he be allowing his friends to speak up for him? No. Should he be defending his wife when his friends are speaking to her the way they are speaking to her? Absolutely. Which therefore we go back to the other scene where she talks about, let me get it back off for you, lovelies. And then, you know exactly what way you're referencing again. Mm-hmm.
I want to believe you, but then you're like, this is my best friend, and then you're like, he would never lie, but it's like, also, he's the one who brought it up. It really can be hard to be married to someone from another country sometimes. I always thought Kobe accepted me for who I am, but maybe this trip is really showing to me.
So let's talk about this whole thing about being accepted for who I am. Here's the thing, and I'm going to say that it's not a case of where Kobe does not accept Emily for who she is. It's more of a case of where she hasn't allowed herself to accept him for who he is. So whoever he is showing himself to be is who he actually is. But it's the part that she has suppressed with her, I guess, bossy attitude, shall I say, always telling him what to do and never really listening to what he wants and all that kind of stuff. Now, of course, she may play the role and say that, yes, my husband is happy and I make him happy with these, But the fact is, though, those things haven't come out of his mouth, though. And if anything, have you even had a conversation about some of the things that you guys are talking about? And I would have said that there definitely would have been a point earlier on where they would have had these conversations where Kobe would have spoke about obviously what he likes and obviously what he expects and all that kind of stuff. But Emily would have more or less likely to have been like, we're doing it this way. I'm from America and this is how we do things, blah, 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 blah. And this is why I go back to what I was saying before, that I just feel like Kobe has put himself in a position where he's with somebody, and in my humble opinion, not necessarily for the correct reasons. And to be honest with you, there is a very good point that was made before about, certain men from Africa going to, to the States or even the UK, whatever, and marrying someone from a different culture and then being like, it's not going to work because you're just not as submissive as I would like. But let's just talk about the submissive part. Now, of course, I can imagine the submissive part comes more from the fact that they expect a woman to do as they're told and expect them to do the traditional, wife role or whatever. But let's flip that though. Let's talk about the submissive part in a different way. Let's talk about in a way where the man deserves to be heard. And this is the problem. In their relationship, it doesn't seem as if Kobe is ever really heard. Whenever he says anything, it's very unlikely. And even in this conversation here, there were times when Kobe kind of tried to say little things here, but what did she do? She interrupted him. You see what I'm saying? And I will say this though, if your man is trying to talk to his friends and you interrupt him while he's talking to his friends, nah. That shit doesn't fly. For me personally, no. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm talking to my friends, what are you doing? what you doing? Yeah, make it make sense. You see what I'm saying? But even if I'm speaking to her friends or I'm speaking to her parents or anybody, it's like, yo, like, I've got a voice. Let me have my voice. And clearly having a voice is something that he's not allowed to have or he has not been able to have. But I will say this, though. Regardless of what I've said, though, should Kobe defend his wife? Should he be defending his wife when his friends are attacking her? 1000%. If I'm with someone, whether you're my wife or you're just my girlfriend or whatever, like, listen, and there is no way in hell I'm gonna let my friend speak to you as if like you're some, you know what I mean? Like, what the hell? Are you mad? So really and truly, in this position here, he had two roles here. Step in and say, no. You guys are not telling my wife anything. If there's anything that my wife needs to know, I will tell her myself. You see what I'm saying, okay? And then in that situation, later on, you have a conversation. You voice yourself. And if Emily doesn't want to listen, then you say, you know what? I've tried. You don't listen, so maybe it's time for us to part ways. Simple as that. Because really and truly, having a situation now where you've got your wife and your friends going back and forth, that's just unnecessary energy. That's toxic. maybe toxic is a bit too much of a, maybe that's too much of a strong word for that, to be fair. But it's energy that is not needed. It is, you know what I mean? It's like, no, I just don't, you know what I mean? No, you know, I would never want that situation. So really and truly, you know, it is a shame that Kobe is coming across as if he has become a man that is a show of his former self, whoever his former self is, you know what I mean? It's a shame that he's got to this point where he can't even defend his wife, but also can't even tell, you know, his wife to just humble it. But either way though, Emily definitely has to reflect on herself. She has to reflect on her role in the situation, and she has to really analyze why his friends are coming at her in this way. You know what I mean? Also, there's that side too. Why is your friends have this agenda against me? Why are they doing this? Why do they believe this about myself? You see what I'm saying? And in that situation, Emily needs to be like, you know what? Maybe his friends are saying things that are true. You know what? Maybe I have to start listening to his friends. Maybe if I don't take this, what his friends are saying seriously, I may actually lose the man that I love, the man that is the father to my kids. You see what I'm saying? Even though the situation isn't ideal, doesn't mean you can't learn from it. So Emily could easily still learn from the situation. But either way though, oh, I would say this though, when the whole thing came up with the whole girlfriend thing, whatever, there was a point where Emily says, well, maybe it's time I do start listening to what Valerie's been saying, blah, blah, blah. And it's a damn shame that it's got to this point that where she may start listening to her freaking man. At the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, if you are in a relationship with somebody and you're getting to know them right now, please make sure you know whether or not that person gives you a voice or not. Please make sure you know that person is always going to listen to you. Just sometimes make sure that person is always going to be emotionally available for you. If you're with someone that is not emotionally available for you, you're wasting your goddamn time. You should be gone. Gone. A relationship is two ways. There is no such thing as a one-sided relationship. And there's no such thing as 1.5. I have, you know, there's this side and then you get a little bit of half. No. It's two sides. 50-50, okay? When it comes to being emotionally available for each other. Point blank period. But of course, there will be times where you may have to be 80% available and they may be 20% available. And trust me, the percentage, it can change. That is fine. That is healthy. But sometimes we need others more. Sometimes I may need you more than, you know what I'm saying? But generally speaking, it has to feel as if the emotional availability is balanced. If it doesn't, have a conversation. Conversation doesn't go anywhere, leave that for. With that being said, don't forget to like, subscribe, and of course, peace.